Hello everybody, this is Tesla and I am in the garage here at the Lighthouse for a look at Germany's new Tier 7 Scout, the Spa-Panzer SP-1C. We're going to take an in-depth look at it, not only at its stats, but how to outfit its equipment, its consumables, its ammo, its crew, and then we'll take it out into the fray for a look at how it performs in battle. So before we get into all that, let me give you a little history on this tank. In the late 1950s, the German army was using a tracked recon vehicle called the Schützenpanzer, the SPZ-11-2 Kurz. It is basically exactly what you're looking at here, minus the turret. It was armed with a 20mm cannon. And the Germans realized that that cannon didn't pack enough of a punch to allow it to survive if it encountered anything but light resistance. And so they wanted to come up with a vehicle that was going to be fast enough to somewhat keep pace with the Schützenpanzer, but also provide a little more punch and hopefully improve the Schützenpanzer's ability to survive in hostile environments. And this is one of the proposals. They took the chassis of the Schützenpanzer, put a turret on it, and outfitted it with a 90mm anti-tank weapon. And they developed the idea all the way through the initial prototype, which I believe is in a museum at Koblenz. And at that point, they realized the tank was going to be extremely difficult to upgrade, and so they dropped the project at the prototype stage. So, with a lot of clamor against the Alf Panther in World of Tanks, and the fact that the Alf Panther was just the idea that never even made it to prototype stage, and they kind of glued it all together using pieces of this and piece parts of that, somebody decided this would be a better Tier 7 Scout. The problem being, it wasn't designed to scout. It was designed to support the Schützenpanzer actual recon vehicles in somewhat of a fast, mobile, light tank destroyer role. But be that as it may, we end up seeing it in-game as a dedicated scout. It is too good to suck, but it's too suck to be good. And you'll see all this as we go over its stats. Players who have very good situational awareness and who liked the VK2801 will be able to make this tank work. Players with good situational awareness who were able to use the PZ38NA effectively will be able to make this tank work. Players who were good with the AMX ELC BIS are going to be able to make this tank work. All of them with just some minor adaptations to their playstyle, because it borrows a lot from all three of those tanks and merges it into its own little brand of frustratingly good play. But if you're moving up a scout line for the first time and you chose Germans, and you aren't really good at scouting yet, you haven't mastered the art of looking ahead 3-4 minutes into the battle, if you are just a scout with a lot of experience but just average or less skill, this is going to frustrate the hell out of you. You're going to not wait until you get to the RU-251. Some of you are going to just screw the German line and go to a different scout line. Some of you are just going to be thanking God that you finally get to the Tier 8 Scout and can get rid of this piece of crap. It has the capability to be good in the hands of a good player. In a less than good player, it's going to be very challenging to play well on a consistent basis. And the reason for that is the odd combination of stats that it gets. For every good point, there's an opposing counterpoint. Its size for a scout is good. It only weighs 9.69 tons because it's so small. That's actually 3 tons more than the prototype weighed, almost 3. That's good. It can fit into small bushes, but like I said, it's hard to get there. Its motor is an anemic 195 horsepower. Combined with its weight, even though it's light compared to the other tanks in its class, it only produces a specific power of 20.1 horsepower per ton, which is horrible. The only thing worse than it in Tier 7 is the AMX 1375, which is commonly knocked for not having agility and maneuverability because its specific horsepower sucks. The terrain resistance on this tank is similarly bad. It ranks second in class to the LTTB in average and moderate terrain, and it's worst in class in severe terrain. So all of this combines to produce a very slow, for a scout, top speed of 58 kilometers per hour, and second in class 22 kilometers per hour in reverse. It's not fast, it's not maneuverable. The turret traverse is 44, which is second worst, and its hull traverse is also 44, again second worst in class. You're hearing a lot of worst and second worst so far. Things are not looking good, but there is a bright side. The view range is 400 meters, best in class. That's only 10 meters more than the tanks that aren't 400 at Tier 7, but that's still every couple meters of view range helps in specific situations. So that's something you can help apply to your advantage. Its camo rating is good. It's second best in class. Its hull armor, back to suck. It basically doesn't have hull armor. A Gnat has as much armor as this tank does. The turret armor is 10 millimeters all around, and the hull is 15 from the front, 10 to the side. When I'm out in the field of battle, I'm worried that one of the bird poops on me that is flying around, because it would probably cause damage if it hits me with its poop. So I try to avoid the birds. If I see birds overhead, I move. They hurt me just as much as Artie does. The gun is the good thing. Matter of fact, the gun is the best thing about this tank. The gun is what makes this tank playable. Without this gun, it would be downright suck every way possible. The 90, all three variants, all three options of the 90 meter gun are extremely playable. For the stats that I have up on the screen, they're the stats for the 90 millimeter, and I apologize to all you Europeans because I'll probably say it wrong and you're going to tell me the right way to say it. Mecker. It's the single shot version of the autoloader, and so just bear in mind these stats are all for the 90 millimeter Mecker. The damage is 240, 240, and 320 for heat. Penetration, and that's top in class all the way across. Penetration is similarly top in class all the way across. 180 millimeters on AP, 250 on heat, and 45 for HE. It has a great gun. DPM is middle of the road, kind of lower of the pack, but if you notice, the worst DPM of the bunch is the M41 Bulldog, which is considered a great tank because of its large clip and its ability to put out some decent burst damage. This tank has high alpha, and it has a fairly fast reload for its alpha. If you've already played the VK2801 and used the 105, it is just a tad slower than the 2801's 105 reload. But it hits a very consistent 200 to 250 every time you penetrate. So it gives you nice, steady, repeatable throughout the fight damage. And it ends up having 40 rounds. So you get more than enough ammo for a typical fight. The aim on it in this variant is 2.2 seconds, which is middle of the pack. There's not really any good or bad here. And the accuracy is 0.36, which is best in class and tied with 3 other tanks. Elevation is another outstanding feature of the gun. Coming from the 2801, where going straight to the front, you basically had no elevation. You had to rotate your turret off to the side and shoot across the side of your tank in order to get good elevation. This tank is more straight up. You can see this nice slope across the front, and the gun is designed to take full advantage of that. You get 10 degrees of depression straight across the bow of your tank. To the sides and rear, not as much. But what this allows you to do is play it kind of like an American Heavy. You can go up to the top of a hill or a ridge and shoot over top at an enemy while presenting a very small target for the enemy to shoot back at. Now, it's not something you would just want to sit up there and try to brawl with somebody because you don't have the hit points to trade shots. But it allows you to peek-a-boom, pull up, take a quick shot, back up, and if they do manage to aim into you on that time that you're exposed, they have a very small target to shoot at. So it gives you a good way of firing at enemy tanks in the right situation, and it's something you should take full advantage of as you're out there running around the field of battle. That combined with a bush, oh my gosh, you can snipe forever and not get seen. And expose very little of your tank while doing so. Now, let's look at the 3 different gun configurations we have. You start off with the very manageable Delta 921 Foxtrot 1. It's another 90mm gun. And check this out. It has the best rate of fire of your 3 choices at 7.69 rounds per minute, slightly better than the MECAR single shot, and a lot better than the auto. Its DPM is the highest, barely edging out the 90mm single shot MECAR. Damage is exactly the same. It loses 10mm of penetration on its AP shell, but its heat and AP or HE are exactly the same penetration as the MECAR versions of the 90mm. Its shell velocity is faster. It gains 130 feet per second in the AP and heat mode, and it gains a bunch of velocity over the HE rounds off the MECARs. So what this means is your shot's going to hit the target a little bit faster, and there's going to be less of an arch. There's going to be less trajectory. It makes aiming easier, despite the fact that that's, like I said, there's a give and take. The shell velocity is better, however the accuracy is worse. It's 0.038 as opposed to it's 0.38 as opposed to 0.36 for the MECAR versions, and its aim time's a little bit slower. 0.3 of a second slower than the single shot, 1/10 of a second slower than the auto. It weighs less by 10 kilograms over the single shot, and 110 kilograms, it's about 20% lighter than the autocannon, which gives it the best specific power. So if the starter gun provides the highest DPM, the highest rate of fire, the highest shell velocity, and the most agility, although all of those are just marginally better than the 90mm single shot. What this means is when you first get the tank, you are blessed with a gun that's capable of doing yeoman's work right from Jump Street. You don't have to wait to get upgraded before you can actually go in and hold your own offensively. Now you're going to need all the upgrades on your engine and tracks and stuff like that. Let's look at this. I won't even show you how poor these are, but you want to elite everything. Gun, awesome starter gun, probably one of the best starter guns of any scout in any tier ever. The gun is extremely serviceable. Long range, do you want to take this, take the auto, take the single? It's going to be totally up to your play style. All 3 of them work well. And the reason I have this on here right now is because I spent the first day of the upgrade playing the autocannon. I spent the second day playing the single shot version of the autocannon, and I spent the third day playing the starter gun because I was looking at the stats going, the stats aren't really that much worse. I want to play it and see how it works. I get an idea how people starting out with the tank or what they're going to experience. And it was so effective for me that I decided that I'm just going to stick with this gun and see how many marks of excellence I can get with the starter gun. As you can see, I'm up to 2 marks of excellence, and I'm going to spend the rest of the week pursuing a third. See if I can get all the way up to 3 marks of excellence with the starter gun. Because I think if I can, that makes a little bit of a statement to players moving into the tank that don't let me hear you whining that you have the initial gun, because this gun can kick ass. Moving on to equipment. You can't, like a lot of German scouts, you don't get to mount vertical stabilizers. That actually makes your equipment choice pretty easy. The only thing you have to decide, do you want to take binoculars or coated optics? Otherwise, you want improved ventilation. You want the rammer. Get that reload down as fast as small as possible. And I choose the optics because I'm an optics kind of person. I have a couple tanks to run binoculars on, but not very many. I already have a couple skills on my crew, and that helps me out there. If you have a starter crew on this tank, you may want to start off with binoculars instead of coated optics, and then after you get recon or situational awareness or BIA, then switch it out. I personally, if I was just with a starter crew, I'd still take optics on the tank, because you are going to be moving around. You are going to be struggling to move around the battlefield with your little baby engine, and you're going to want optics when you're on the move. The other thing some people like to use is the camo net. For God's sakes, don't put a camo net on this tank. You're already the size of a thimble, a large thimble, and you fit in bushes that other scouts can't even think about fitting into. If you need a net with this tank, get out of scouting, go play mediums, heavies, and TDs, because you have no business in a scout. Don't put a net, it's a waste of a slot. Ammo or consumables. This is standard outfit for many scouts. Small first aid kit in position 4, so you can double press 4. Press 4-4 and you heal your driver in case he gets hurt or killed. Small repair kit or large repair kit, your choice, in position 5, so you can press 5-5 and fix your tracks in case you get tracked. Auto fire extinguisher in position 6. I recommend autos, but if you don't think you can afford it, then put manual fire extinguishers here. If you can find a way to afford autos, do it. They're better. And then ammo-wise, don't know yet. I haven't come up with the optimal mix. Right now I'm running 20 AP, and that's my default ammo load, 18 heat, and 2 HE. You end up in a lot of battles against Tier 10 tanks. A lot of Tier 10 tanks. A lot of heavily armored Tier 10 tanks. And you have that rubber band engine, that one squirrel in there working his ass off to try to make you move anywhere. You don't always have the option of flanking and getting to the rear of targets where you need to be there in order to get best shots. So I carry more heat maybe than some people would. I definitely carry more heat than I would on a lot of other tanks, because I need it, because I'm not getting my optimal penetration angles. And that's a function a lot of just how remarkably unmaneuverable the tank is. It's not like it can't turn. It's just compared to other scouts, it can't turn. And when you have any kind of a tank with any kind of power at all in opposition to you, it's pretty easy for them to prevent you from getting optimal shots. Crew skill wise, I'm going to look at this 2 different ways. Okay, because I already have some skills on my crew. I'm going to go through first what you would train your crew in if you have a crew starting off at 100% trained. Once you reach 100% training and you start doing crew skills, this is going to be the recommended order to take. And then I'm going to take a look at what if you transfer in a crew that already is at least almost done with their 3rd skill. What do you do then? Because it changes what you should take, or it changes the order you should take them in. So here's your starter crew. They've just reached 100% training and it's time to start tacking on crew skills. What should you take? First of all, you only have 3 crew members. The commander has commander, radio operator, and loader skills in his bag available. The gunner can also serve as the loader, and the driver just gets to drive. He doesn't get to do anything else. So what I recommend is the driver drives, the gunner also takes loader skills, because the commander already has way too many skills to begin with. He doesn't need to pick up loader skills. Let the gunner take your loader skills. And then your commander should take mostly commander skills, however, pick up that situational awareness off the radio operator for enhanced view range. So here's what you should do. Very first skill, take camouflage all across the board. Once your commander hits 100%, swap him out for 6 cents, and then take camouflage again. For your gunner, second choice, take snapshot. I shouldn't even show that because the way I did it's going to look different to everybody. Second choice, take snapshot for your loader, and for your driver, take off-road driving. You have agility issues. Off-road driving helps you out. Third choice is going to be brothers in arms. And then your fourth choice for your commander is going to be situational awareness from the radio operator line. For your gunner, it will be designated target. And for your driver, it's going to be a choice. If you find yourself shooting on the move and need smooth riding, go for that. If you find yourself still wishing you were more mobile, then take clutch braking. Going to be your choice, but one of those two should be your fourth skill, either clutch braking or smooth riding, depending on which you prefer better. Now, if you do like I do, where you were able to just go snag some guys hanging out in the barracks drinking beer and saying, "Hey boys, it's time to go fight," then you're going to do it in a slightly different order. Now the key to this is that you're at least working on your third skill in order to do this. And for your commander, it's even better if he's working on his fourth. What you're going to do is just flat out take camouflage first and 6 cents for your commander. Second, take brothers in arms. Third on your commander's camouflage, and then situational awareness. On your gunner, it's going to be camouflage, then brothers in arms, then snapshot. On your driver, camouflage, then brothers in arms, then take off-road driving. The reason for this is with only 3 crew members, you don't get to take a lot of skills. And brothers in arms helps everybody out across the board. Maybe not quite as much as specific skills do in very specific areas of expertise, but overall, when you have such a small crew, if you're able to put brothers in arms in second, then go for that. That is only if you can transfer in a crew that's already pretty far into their third skill. Otherwise, do it the initial way I said. So, how are you going to play? It presents a lot of problems. The top speed of 58 kilometers per hour means that when the countdown timer hits 0 and you start pulling out of spawn, sometimes you feel like you've been put into a huge pinball game and you are the pinball. Because for whatever reason, allied tanks do not care if they run into you. They will push you, they will hit you, they will block you, and you don't have the oomph to get going, especially if you start off in the back of spawn, to get to the front and get ahead of the pack and get to where you're going. That's a major issue in and of itself, because you're already hampered by low speed. You need to get out of the spawn area cleanly, and a lot of times you don't. Maybe that's not a problem in Europe. It's a problem I've run into repeatedly here in North America. The next thing will be, man, you're going 58, and a lot of those enemy scouts are going well in the upper 60s or 70s, and they're going to beat you to the bush, the vision control bush. They're going to get to the spot that can see you before you get to the spot that can see them. And so you end up being rebuked. You're denied the spot you want to go to. Or similarly, if you're in a zone of control fight where you're rushing to the middle in mines, or you're rushing to the donut in Karelia, or similar situations, almost guaranteed that the enemy team is going to get there before you, which is not a good situation. So you have to keep these kind of things in mind during that 30-second countdown. You have to be looking at what the opposition consists of. Or do they have fast mediums that are going to totally beat me to where I want to go? Do they have scouts that are going to keep me from getting to the bush I want to? You have to account for that from the beginning. Throughout a fight with this tank, you have to be thinking 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes ahead and think of where do I need to be in the future, because I don't have the speed to just say, hey, I need to be there and go there. You have the speed to think, I need to be there, and by the time you finish your sandwich, you'll get there. You have to think ahead, or you get caught, you get trapped, you get dead. Passive spotting in the beginning, if you get to the bush, awesome. You have the view range and you have the camouflage to do it. The issue is whether you get there or not. Throughout the battle, if you can passive spot, do it. Sniping. Playing it the same way a lot of people play the AMX CLC BIS, where you play basically a light TD sniper. It's awesome at that role. It has great penetration. It has a fairly accurate gun, and it can shoot long distance and put rounds on its target. It can provide a steady 200 to 250 damage per shot throughout the entire fight until you run out of ammo. You can put up big damage numbers. But normally at some point you have to take the lead and go out and find enemy tanks and become more active as the fight progresses. And that's where you really get into trouble. If you try to go arty hunting, if you try to do delay rushes, if you try to end up in a non-support role to where you're out on your own, you have to have extremely acute situational awareness, because it's very easy to get trapped. And if the enemy sees you and realizes you're back somewhere alone and they start to close in the net, you do not have the speed and agility that you need to get out of the trap before it closes on you. So you have to be extremely aware of what's going on, and you have to be smart enough and wise enough to say, I know I can get in there, but I'm never going to get back out. And then choose to do something that's going to be better long term for your team. It's a very good tank for working close combat with bigger, heavier tanks, because you're such a little target. I've found that, and a lot of times the enemy just ignores you. They know they can shoot you. They know in most cases they can't blow you up in one shot, and they perceive the other tanks with perhaps bigger guns as being a bigger threat, and they leave you alone, and you can just kind of drive in and out of them and just pop them in the butt and in the side and do major damage. But the moment they decide you're the target, then you're screwed, because you can't get away. So, high risk, high reward. Overall, you're going to passive spot first, then go to a more active role. But it's a very smart decision many times to go with the main force and work just like you have the armor of a gnat. Well, you have the irritability to the enemy of a gnat as well. You can be the fly, you can be the little gnat flying around, bothering the hell out of everybody, and they just can't seem to hit you. And most of the times they ignore you. So we're going to take this thing out into a battle, and I will show you how it performs. Now bear in mind, this is the starter gun. A lot of you will say that the other guns are better, but hey, use what works for you. Like I said, I'm using this gun just to see how many marks of excellence I can get. I want to see if I can get my third mark of excellence with this gun, and then I'll probably switch to the 90mm single shot as my long-term weapon with it. So we're going to go out and play a battle. It's a tank that you can do really well in. You can put up good damage numbers. You can put up lots of XP because you're playing against tier 10 tanks. However, you cannot make mistakes. If you get away with more than one mistake a battle, consider yourself lucky. If you make a mistake, you're normally dead. So let's go. And here we are in Tundra. We have Tier 9s in the battle. 2 artillery apiece. 4 scouts apiece. The enemy team has no mediums. A lot of heavies and TDs. And we have only 2 mediums on our team. So this is a game dominated by scouts and by heavies. Now, I don't normally go to the zone of control area. I'm definitely not going to the hill in this tank because I'm not fast enough to get there. By the time I get there, it'll be closed off and I won't even be able to get up to the top. I was looking at something here and I ran into that stupid mountain. So I'm going to come over here to the left, watch my team deploy. Our 49's running up to the zone of control hill. See a couple heavies moving over here to the west pass, which is expected. We have some tanks moving over here. Our arty's moving over. One of the artys was moving over here. Don't know if that's wise, but it ends up working out. And I come up here because when you sit up here, if tanks expose themselves over in this area, a lot of times you get some shots at them. It's not somewhere where I'll stay. I won't stay here very long. But I can spot to the north, and I can look down the river, and a lot of times I'll get to shoot at some people over there. A lot of times scout tanks. Here we come with the 25-2's going to come up here through the buildings. And so I'm going to move over to the side, see if I can get a shot at him as he moves through the buildings. You don't want to brawl with people. You just don't have the hit points. You don't have the armor to do it. Oh, and he made it all the way around him. He went through there pretty fast. I'm thinking I'm going to back up, and then there's the IS-6. So I'm just going to sit here and pop the IS-6 while I can. You can see that good penetration going to work. And I decided, well, that's a done deal. They sandwiched those people and took them out. I need to move. I can't take on all that massive enemy tankage by myself, so I'm going to come over here in the middle. I was going to go help with the TD, but the T-28 died, so I'll just come up here and see if I can spot the FV-207. At this point, I'm thinking we're going to lose. We're down 2 tanks. We're kind of spread out on our defense, so I figure, well, I'll come out here and take out this guy, circle around to the east, and get back together with the team and see what can happen. He has no chance of winning this. He dies. Now I'm going to move over toward the hill and join up with my team. My idea is to go over and help with the J Panther when he's still alive. And then go up on top of the hill and see if I can spot for my team. J Panther dies. Now it's back to 8-8. We're making a little comeback. We're still kind of weak over on the defensive area. And it's like, well, we have a guy capping, so maybe I can move up here and help cap. Take some of the pressure off our defense, because I know that there's a bunch of tanks coming in. Here comes the IS-3. I'm switching over to heat because I'm not going to get a side shot on him. I can't run the circle around him because I'm not mobile enough to do it. I have to back out. The T-25's coming up, and I want to take a shot at him as I back up. But I'm staying loaded in case that IS-3 comes after me. I kept heat loaded. Like, man, there's the KV-4. I can't back up far enough to shoot at him without going down the hill. I'll probably kill myself. There's a guy moving on the bridge behind me. I need to back out. I'm just going to go up on the hill. At this point, I decided I'm going to go up on the hill and spot from up there, because where these tanks are, I should be able to shoot at them with little risk of getting shot in return. We have our bigger tanks moving in to oppose the guys by our cap. So if I can snipe from the sidelines, I hopefully can lay down some damage without exposing myself. At the same time, if that IS-8 decides to cap, I can move into position to reset him as well pretty easily from up here. Like I said, it takes a while for me to go anywhere. Ah! I should have aimed in. T-49 is going over to the IS-8. I'm going to keep a watch on that. I want to take out this one heavy though. Here we go. Dead. KV-4 gone. Now T-49's in a death match with the IS-8, so I'll just move over here and help out. If he's watching the T-49, I should get some free shots on him. I'm going to have to move over to this other balcony in order to be able to see him well enough. Get the pop right into the back of him. Oh, I get inside. If I can shoot him a couple times, hopefully the T-49 can position himself to get a kill shot. He's going to shoot at me. T-49 is going to use that to pull up and shoot him, I hope. Oh, he misses the shot. Oh well. Shoot him again. Next person who shoots him kills him. And the IS-6 is just going to stay on the backside of that mountain and dare the T-49 to come to him. I'm not going to waste time there. I'm going to come back here and try to help my team. We're down 2 tanks again. Things are looking grim. So now we're down 3 tanks. 2 lights against 4 heavies in the TD. Okay, we can do this. We can. Watch. See why I'm just going for it's too far away to. Yes, he takes out the IS-8. That was good. Now it's 2 against 4. We're still kind of out. I can't. Well, we're outgunned. Yes, 4 guns against 2. We have firepower, but they have more weapons to bring to bear. So we have guns that are capable. Man, we have tanks that can't. Neither one of us can get shot. If either one of us gets shot, we're dead. And we have to take down people. Now somebody's capping. Jeez. I'm gonna come over here and try to tag team whoever's capping. It's the T-34. Cool. He's a 1 shot for either one of us. He knows where the T-49 is. He doesn't know I'm coming, so I'm going to try to come behind him here and do a drive-by on him. Hopefully nobody's going to spot me over the bridge and shoot me. He's trying to rotate toward me and it's not working. Not in time, but so now I'm going to move off to the west. I'm thinking they're going to be coming south to try to help out their T-34, and so I'm going to go wide west and circle around them. Hopefully be able to come in from behind them and get a couple shots off, wear down some of their hit points, so we can put them in a position where we can kill them. T-49's coming with me. He's like, man, I'm not staying over there by myself. And now we have the 704 moving into cap, so that's going to mess with us. I was going to turn around and go back. It's 2 on 2, but we're both 1 shots and they aren't. We have the maneuverability. Even my tank with bad maneuverability is better than either one of those. So now, the whole thing here, we want to work as a team. We do not want to attack on the very same angle. We want to force the enemy to choose who he's going to shoot at. So no matter which person he picks, the other tank can move forward and get damage. If we do it from the same angle, we're going to die. And we need to, if possible, get rid of this 704 before the IS-3 gets close enough to support him. I have a shot through the gap. IS-3's there. He shot it. It's 49. I'm going to be able to finish him off right here. Now it's 2-on-1 in the 704, and this is our fight. Unless we blow this, this is our fight. He can't guard two directions at once, and there's no way I'm giving him a single line of fire to get both of us on. He's pointed the other way, so I'm going to get a good shot on him. He's backing up. He's not going to turn in time to keep me from getting a second shot, but I'm not going to be able to get a third because he is now pointed at me. So I'm going to circle around and I was thinking about going through the water, and it's like, nope, you know what? 49's moving up. I'm just going to pull in close, and whichever way the 49 goes around the rock, I'm going to go the other way. And this guy's dead. He has no chance of winning this. 49's holding him looking that way. I'm going to be able to, even with my slow tank, get in and get his flank. I missed that, but I'm going to get behind him. He's worried about the 49 popping him, and he's giving me the kill shot. He's giving me the kill shot. Fire, dead, win. 2 lights come back against 4 heavies and a TD because we played well together. So as you can see, the tank does have capability. But in order to get to a position like that, and in order to exploit and to pull out a win like that, you have to think way ahead. You have to know what's going on in the battlefield and know where to go to exploit what's going on in the battlefield, because if either one of us would have made a mistake there and gotten caught in the wrong position, we would have lost the fight. For this battle, I ended up with 2,317 XP. It was an ace mission, and if you haven't played it yet, be prepared for some crazy ace mission scores. You can get 1,900 XP and still only be a first class. You won't get ace unless you go over 2,000 right now. 2 spots, 19 huge points of spotting damage, 5 kills, 3,676 points of damage, high caliber, and a defender medal. So that was a nice, solid mission in my little tank, my little baby tank with the big gun. As you saw, it can put out steady amounts of damage, and that damage adds up fairly rapidly. You cannot get caught in a bad position. You don't have the speed to get away. And that's the primary consideration throughout everything you do on the battlefield, is you have to have right there at the top of your mind, you cannot get caught in a bad situation. If you do, you're dead. So it's a fun scout to play. It's a very challenging scout to play. It's a cerebral scout to play. You constantly have to be thinking, analyzing, processing, and evaluating what's going on in the field of play. Otherwise, you will not do well. You'll get frustrated. You'll throw it in the trash. I'm going to do another video on it later today to show you a different look with the same scout. And like I said, after I see if I can get 3 marks of excellence with the starter gun, I'll change out to the MECAR single shot 90mm. No matter which gun you choose, you can do well with it. It's one of those nice little things where every single gun choice you have is good. So people can debate all day about which one is best. Doesn't matter. Pick whichever one you like and play it, and don't care if somebody says you have the wrong weapon, because you have a weapon that's very serviceable. So first look at the SP1C. As I said, it's a fun tank. Don't get caught in the wrong spot, and you'll be able to enjoy it. Happy hunting.